Shout out to the asthmatics.
Facts. We're both in that shit.
Yeah. Have social anxiety, asthma. How many have heard of that? It's a new one.
Nobody can breathe if everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, that's real. The pressure. What it do, my people? What it is? This is, of course, Culture of Podcast. This is the intro to Culture of Podcast. I'm here with my best homie, the one that's making all this happen with me. We are doing all the groundwork. We are getting this set up. He is motivating me on a weekly basis because, you know, we still have lives that we live, and this is not our main hustle right here or anything. Like, this is something that we're building from the ground up. So
yep,
this is...
we're going to put it together, make sure it gets out to everybody.
Yes, sir. I'm Jordan Smith-Willis.
I'm Lyle Turner.
And this is Culture Up Podcast. And we're kind of going to break down, like, this is going to be an intro to the podcast, just kind of talk about what we hope to see out of it and what it is to us and how it started and everything. So...
yeah, I think a really important thing to kind of clear right away is, like, what is Culture of?
Culture of, man, it's so many things wrapped up in one, and I feel like over the time we're going to touch so many different avenues. It's going to be hard to, like, bring this into, like, a one point thing, but Culture of is exactly what the name is. I want to do deep dives into other people's culture, no matter how big or how small it is. I just want to be able to dive deep into other people's culture and have this podcast and just the name in general represent all of us. I want it to be a unity thing. Like, when people think of Culture of, I want people to think of, like, diversity. I want people to think of, like, oh, they're unbiased. They talk to everybody, like, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and we don't just want to cover like the religion parts of culture or where you're from parts of culture. It's just as much about you as a person and how you react to things and how other people react to things. Getting the life stories of anybody and everybody. That's what Culture of actually is. We don't want to just explore what it's like to live in America, what it's like to live in Europe, or that culture aspect of things. We want to redefine what culture means to people.
100%. And I think the only way we can redefine that is by diving into the taboo side of culture, into the small side of culture that people aren't used to seeing. A lot of people live very private lifestyles, and a lot of people just, you know, in the day of social media, everybody puts up this picture of who they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But who they are behind closed doors and what they go through behind closed doors is part of their culture. It's the biggest part of their culture, and it's the things that aren't talked about. So those are the things I want to talk about while we're up here and while we have the opportunity to shed light on things. I'm a business owner, so one of the things, everybody's like, go get an LLC, go do this, go do that, but nobody talks about the taxes and how you got to do that stuff quarterly, and, like, you know, there's a lot of extra stuff that goes behind the scenes of any successful or unsuccessful person, and I want to get into the depth of that.
Yeah, so, like, people don't care about, like, whether, especially when we're talking on, like, business side of things, they don't care if you forgot to pay your taxes. You're going to get a fee, you're going to pay that fee, and then you're going to pay your taxes anyway. So it's like, if you're not really watching and managing that, you're just going to get hit, and nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to bring that up when they want to start a business. It's like, oh yeah, let's start a business, and then have no idea what they're actually doing. And 6 months later, they owe $700 in back taxes.
And they didn't even know how it became
about. They didn't know they needed to be paying taxes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just from people feeling uncomfortable talking about the negatives in their life.
Yeah.
And
nobody wants to post the bad stuff
that's
on
going
Facebook
on in their life.
Or
they want it to
Instagram.
make it look like it's all good, and I get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we want in life. Like, but it's just unrealistic, and life is balanced, and that is what it is right there. And I feel like with this podcast, I want to be as vulnerable and open as I possibly can with people to make them feel even more comfortable about what they're going through, or some of the questions that I'll be asking that might trigger some traumas or anything like that.
I agree.
Because I just want I'm a big want to know why person and want to know how. So those are gonna be like the basis of my questions for people. And I mean, we're gonna do barber podcasts. We're gonna do microbrewery podcasts. This podcast is gonna go into the culture of a lot of different things. We're starting off local, so it's gonna be something that like my hometown can understand why people did what they did and maybe get the motivation to do what they want to do as well. Because from where we're from, 28 to 30,000 people, very small town, very minded town. Not small minded everybody, but it's a definitely crabs in a barrel type of situation. So I want to be able to shed light on the people who are doing things so people can continue to want to be themselves and bring their ideas and opportunities right here to Frankfort.
Absolutely.
So,
the first episode we had Jordan Kendall and Jared Newton on.
Yeah.
Both of which from Frankfort and made it out to California. They've made it out all across the world doing what they love doing,
100%.
Getting to travel, getting to produce in the cannabis industry. Like, they started their own businesses and they've been incredibly successful with it. So that's something that we go over in our first episode. We really want to shed some light on all the great things that they did and some of the not so great things that may have come along with that. Traveling's always fun, but you never know.
What's going to happen while traveling? Yeah.
When you're on the ass into Budapest somewhere and you have no money, and you gotta catch a ride with a dude in a cart. Like, that's just how you get home.
But you're still making it happen too.
Right.
So, and that's something that we go over as well in the first episode is manifestation of reality, and how important it is just to really believe it till you achieve it.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing with this as well. Like, at the end of the day, we don't have a huge following or nothing.
And that's all right. Not yet.
Not yet. No, it's this. Like I said, we're building this foundation up. So this is something organic. It's something real. And I think over time, it's going to be exactly what we want it to be. It's not even a thing. I know it's going to be exactly what we want it to be. So it's one of those things where the first episode, we go over a couple different things. And it's not really over any culture in particular unless you're from Frankfort.
Right.
It's Frankfort. The first
really
episode
the
is
culture of
Frankfort. And the second episode, honestly, it's a cannabis episode, but it's still a Frankfort culture episode. It's my brother and my godfather. Like, the two of the closest people in my life. So, like, I think we have a very good game plan where we want to go with this. I couldn't appreciate you more with everything,
I'm just here to produce things and make things sound good, look good.
You do a damn good job at it, though.
I appreciate it.
And you make it extremely comfortable for me to make it feel like that there's not even a setup going on. Because when people, even like the behind the scenes of podcasts, people see people's podcasts and everybody's like, I want to do a podcast.
It ain't easy.
It's not easy.
Okay, it's not easy.
It might be easy once you get it together or if you have a nice bit of money. But in time, that's the biggest part.
If you've got a studio space and lights and you've got a nice camera, a nice setup, then sure, you can pop out and do whatever you want to.
Then you can record it, and then the editing is a whole nother thing. Like the edit and everything. So
I was not prepared for that in any way, shape, or form.
It's different.
I've done a lot of photo editing and I've done a little bit of video editing, but trying to cut something together that's a conversation without
cutting out
part of the conversation, or people move their hands weird. So if I cut right here where my hands are weird, but then I'm sitting still the next second, it's like, oh cool, that looked weird. Yeah. Awesome. Everybody knows that was a jump cut. And it's like, it's one of those things that you don't know anything about. You can watch all the YouTube videos in the world, and you don't know anything about it until you sit down and you do it. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we want to show you what it's like to experience the culture of making a podcast, the culture of starting a business, the culture of being a barber, the 100%. Culture of growing cannabis.
100%.
That's what this is all about.
This is about the culture, and I want to give people the opportunity to talk about their culture and what it means to them. And right now it's me and you sitting here talking. I cannot wait to see like episode 365 or something like that.
Yes, sir.
A full year's worth of episodes. It's endless on who we're going to be able to have on here and be able to talk to and the places.
Take this show on the road. Take it wherever.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And we've got moves going here to make things a little more permanent, but for the time being, You might see the set move around a little bit.
100%.
You might see the lighting change a little bit.
Yeah, we're in my
Audio.
barbershop right now. Like, this is the place that we have right now. And we're going to make every little space and opportunity worth every piece that we possibly can.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to make it as high quality as possible every time. And the more that we learn, the more that you're going to see that we're learning and investing back into ourselves. Because I believe in me and him more than I believe in anybody else. So I'm going to put us over everything. That's just what it is. When it comes to the business of and everything, you have to have a mindset of it's already happened. You're making it happen. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So
if we don't start a podcast also called Business Of, or we go behind the scenes of Culture Of,
yeah,
we miss an opportunity.
Yeah. No, just a subcategory.
It's a timestamp right now. Timestamp.
We're
First
going to.
episode,
Boom,
we're
boom,
talking
boom.
Business Of
Yeah.
by 2025.
That's,
Look out.
That's it.
Business Of 2025.
Business of. It's going to be we're going to have Culture Of, and we're going to have multiple different sections. We're going to have multiple different playlists to go choose from. We're going to have something that interests a little bit of everybody. And some of them, might not be an 18. It's going to be an 18 and older type of feel on some of these podcasts. And then some of them, it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
My son asked me today, he was like, Dad, are you going to have me on the podcast at some point? And I was like, do you want to be on the podcast? He was like, whenever you want me to be. I was like,
okay.
Don't say that because you can be on here whenever. That's what we want. Like the next generation wanting to get into it. Like
right.
That's it. For all we know, he'll be the one to get it going.
Right.
So we hope that you guys enjoy our journey as much as we're enjoying it. It's a struggle some days. It seems like every day that we recorded, I mentally have had a struggle. Lyle here has helped get me out of that struggle to do this, which has really helped me go ahead and stop the procrastination and do it.
That is the number one rule in life in general. Somebody needs to hold you accountable. Even if you are the most accountable person on the face of the planet, you've got all the things scheduled out, all the things planned out. All it takes is waking up one day and feeling bad or not feeling motivated, and you're going to skip that calendar invite. You're not going to go.
Yeah.
So you need to have somebody there who's going to push you, and that goes for me too.
Yeah.
I don't push myself.
That should be your friend group.
Everyone should be pushing you to do better, and you should be pushing everyone else to do better. Even if it's something that they may not really want to do right there in the moment, if it's something that they look forward to the rest of the time, push them to do it. Push them to do it. It's okay to not want to do things every once in a while. It sucks, but that's just something you got to fight through every once in a while. So.
And then even your best friends, you just don't know what they're battling in their mind.
Yeah.
So
we don't talk about nothing.
We don't talk about nothing. That's another part of this. I am an emotional being, and I want to talk about the emotions of the culture of the people of what you're doing. I want to show that no matter what culture you're in, we're going through the same emotions.
Yeah.
We're going. So
some people may hide it better than others, or just not let it out, or we've been taught as men in particular, and women too, that as a society, we are not allowed to express any emotions that might impact anybody else's emotions.
Yeah.
And to some extent, that might be okay. You don't want to go on a tangent or a screaming match in the middle of a train.
Right.
But at the same time, you need to be able to talk to people
and express in a healthy way.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that I'm personally going through and learning on a daily basis is how to express my emotions in a healthier way for myself, because a lot of it is self-sabotage. I will cut off myself from the world. I will go ghost for weeks at a time, months at a time, without problem. And for those months, it'll feel like a couple days. Like, next thing I know, I'm hitting people up, and they're like, bro, I ain't talked to you in months. Like,
yeah, it's like, where'd that project go? It's like, we started that in, February. It's April.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? Like,
I mean, you blink and it's over, especially when you get into depression. Depression is something that I deal with. We're in wintertime right now, and it's hard for me to get out the fucking house.
Yeah.
Okay? Here in Kentucky,
and I know everybody else
winter,
watching this feels
it looks
the same
like
way.
fucking London half the time. and it's just cold and depressing, and I'm not getting no vitamin D, and
It is 5:37.
it's almost dark
and it
outside.
is dark.
Oh my God, it's crazy. But no matter what, I'm still coming here. I'm still being here, and how I'm feeling is how I'm feeling. It can't stop what I'm doing.
Right.
How I'm feeling and what I'm doing they're not always going to correspond with each other.
Leave your shit at the door sometimes.
Leave your shit at the door. Mine's still sitting here with me, but I'm here and I'm still doing it. And that's really what counts. Like,
yeah.
I tell my son all the time, especially with, I got to be on my oldest son about schoolwork all the time. And it's something that's like, yo, I know you don't want to do it. I don't want to do half the stuff I want to do. If we wait till we're motivated, we'll never move.
It'll be too late.
You have to be disciplined about it and just do it.
Yep.
Just do it. Just get up and do it. You think about it, get up and do it. Don't stop thinking about it once you think about it. Because if you overthink it, you're not going to do it.
Just get started.
Just get started. Go.
Just get started.
And once you get started, you're like, oh, this ain't even bad. We're here.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Whatever you're trying to do, just get started.
Want to give a big shout out to what you're going to be seeing us sip on the first episode. This bottle is empty now. This was a great bottle.
Yeah, due to the first episode.
Yeah, due to the first episode. We are in the state of Kentucky, so I felt like it was only right to start off with some great bourbon.
Absolutely.
From a great company, great homies. Shout out to everybody at Castle and Key. This is the small batch 2023. This was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, for it to be as young as it was, it's 100 proof. It's the small batch, lots of flavor. If you know the history of where they're at and what they did to the distillery, I mean, it's beautiful.
Right.
At one point, it was burnt down, and it wasn't theirs. They had bought it and redid it. And
they're holding weddings at this distillery. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I never thought anybody was going to buy that and be able to do anything with it.
No.
And you can ride right past and see their bourbon barrels from the road.
I was fully convinced that was going to get torn down and redeveloped.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm so happy that they got it reestablished and was able to conserve some of the history of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you've never heard of Castle and Key, please go check these guys out. Plus, it's fun bottle, man. Fun bottle.
Yeah, crazy.
Come on, man. Where else have you seen marketing like that in the bourbon industry? Beautiful. But, man, appreciate you sitting here on this intro of the intro episode.
Absolutely.
You know? And being able to sit down with me and just... Everybody has a face to the name and the man behind the camera. Usually it takes years before you ever even see the person behind the camera. So I'm really happy that the day played out how it did in order for us to do it like this, because it gives everybody a face behind both the people that's putting in, the grind at this. So,
yeah, I agree.
We hope you guys enjoy, and this is to the first episode, my G.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Peace out.
Peace.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
That was easy. That was
It's so much
easier,
conversation.
bro. It's so much easier, bro.
Can't not